what if my loved one says no? And to an outsider looking in, they'd think, well, that's a fair question. The problem is that that question is not asked in the form of a noun. Families almost always ask that question in the form of a verb, and here's how I know that. Families ask that because they know that if we don't give the answer of 100%, they can psychologically justify not doing this. And then I think if it were any other fatal illness or any other medical problem, you would still move forward because you know that nothing has a 100% guarantee. But what we did one time is it was a clinical trial, a case study, if you will. And we don't do this anymore, so after watching this, don't call my office and say, where's my free intervention? But we went ahead and we took 100 people that when they asked us, what if our loved one says no, we responded with, they won't. And if they do, we will give you back all of your money. I guarantee you that they are going to accept help at this intervention. Of those 100 people, not one of them took us up on that offer, which tells me two things. Number one, they asked the question just to throw up an objection, never thinking in a million years that would be my response. And the other reason they asked that question is so that they don't have to do anything. And if it was really about saying no, and I gave them a guarantee that their loved one would say yes, then why didn't they move forward? Because at the end of the day, the fact that you ask me, what if they say no, tells me who's running the show. I've got a large group of people, sane and healthy, mind you, such as yourselves watching this, being controlled by one person with substance use or mental health disorders. If anybody in the world should be worried about hearing the word no, it should be them. You guys are so used to saying yes, you don't even know what the word no means. All you hear from them is no, and all they hear is yes from you. So when somebody says to me, what if they say no? What I can tell you is this. Getting a no at an intervention is 1,000 times better than not trying to do an intervention at all and never even getting near hearing a yes. Because at the end of the day, families are in a much stronger position than they're led to believe by themselves and their loved one. And if your loved one says no, there's a whole entire protocol and aftercare department for that. And we also know as clinicians that when you ask that question, that's not your question, because after 19 years of doing this, at the time I'm shooting this video, what I can tell you is I have two aftercare departments. When people say yes to treatment, when people say no. And the loved ones who say yes, those families struggle 10 times more in our aftercare than the ones who say no, because you know how to do a no. A no is all you've ever lived with. What families fear the most is when their loved one says yes, goes to treatment, and things start to change, and families then have to look at themselves. So when you ask us, what if they say no? Just really ask yourself, where is that question coming from? And does my answer have any bearing on whether or not you're gonna try to do something? Because I'll tell you this, we hear no from families all the time, and we hear yes when people are ready from the substance user or the person with mental health to go to treatment almost all the time. So in other words, getting families to do this is 10 times harder than getting somebody to say yes to treatment.